Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good day, everyone, and welcome to another interesting and yet enthralling episode of the Whiteblood Panorama on your favorite channel, Whiteblood Multimedia. I'm your host, Umar Isa Dandagu. Well, today I've caught up with a man who has enormous amount of experiences and is going to talk us through a great deal of interesting stories, amazing stories that are related to his life, that are part and parcel of his life journey and experiences. My guest today is Ahmad Muhammad. He is currently a football player in London and an activist working for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation. He has established and founded an organization and a company as well called You versus You. They are primarily doing projects helping young people, immigrants precisely, who go to the UK from the Horn of Africa, Middle East, and some other parts of the African continent. He's helping them in order to stay away from crimes. London is not an easy place to live. There are a lot of rules and regulations. He's a mentor, he's a tutor, and he's trying his best to make sure that young people like him get a better life and education there. He has also brought down his project to Nigeria, and especially Kano State, where they're doing feeding programs and other things related to that, just to help the humanity. Well, Ahmad Muhammad joins me in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thanks for having me, Omar. Thank you very much.
I hope I've been able to introduce you well. I don't know.
No, you gave me too much title.
but there's one key fact that I forgot. Well, I don't know. I cannot say I forgot to utter in the introduction, which is your miraculous, amazing journey to the UK. First, when you first found yourself there, I have to say that you just out of the blue found yourself at Heathrow International Airport, Heathrow Airport in London. I don't know what happened. You also said that you just found yourself there, taken by somebody. And talk us through this, because I have to say, because in my introduction I just said you are living in London, so people will say, oh, you're enjoying yourself, chilling, mingling with the big British politicians like Sadiq Khan, your friend, and other people like that. First of all, how did you get yourself in the UK?
Well, as you introduced me, my name is Ahmad Muhammad, and I always get this question, you know. I think what usually happens, society normally cares about you when you've become something called successful, or when they see you in the spotlight and they become more interested in what you do. But however, my life wasn't as straightforward as I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I wasn't born from a rich family. Me ending up in the UK wasn't something that I planned. It wasn't that my father was originally from Borno State, we're Kanuris. And the whole Boko Haram thing, that's how I ended up in the UK at the age of 14 as an unaccompanied asylum seeker. I didn't even know about the system. And how my document was done, how my visa was done, it was something that I had no clue on. I think the first time I heard about visa was when I was in London, and when the immigration officer said I came with a visa, and I was like, what is that? What do you mean?
You just woke up one day and you found yourself?
No, I was actually taken there by someone who claims to know my family, saying he's doing it to help me, and somewhere down the line, when they were trying to get me through the immigration process, after taking me to foster family, they said I could be trafficked to the UK. But
so you didn't know the person?
No, he wasn't.
How did he approach you? I mean, let's make things as clear as possible to our viewers and audience out there. How did you meet him in the first place?
So this person in Borno State said he knows my family. I think when the Boko Haram thing started in 2009, when the fight broke out, everyone kind of just dispersed, and we tried to just find a family, which is very challenging, people. And in Nigeria or northern Nigeria, we have this culture of, you don't really, if someone said, I know your dad, you can't really be like, who are you to say, you just follow the person. But they were saying they're doing it in favor of helping me. And I stayed with this person, and every time like, where's my dad, where's my mom? It's like, oh, they're okay. Till the whole process of taking me. Even the day that we're leaving, I didn't even know where we're going.
So you stayed with him for like how many months? 1 month, 2 months?
I think it's more than a month, but I can't remember exactly for how long, because then there's too much going on in my mind, so many questions.
And he was busy preparing for the documents.
I don't even know he was busy. I knew I was taken to places where I would take a picture, but I don't know what are they for.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, when we got to the UK, and he said to me, we're in a different country now, and he was like, I'm coming.
Okay.
And that was it. That's the coming back, that he never come back up to date.
You have never seen him
up to date.
Can you remember his face? I mean, like when you see him in a crowd, can you pinpoint him, identify him?
Hardly. Up to date. I haven't seen that person. But I think maybe if I was to see a picture, I'd be like, that's him. Yeah, but up to date. And that was it. And me, Northern Nigerian, English wasn't my first language. Even when we go to school, we still would speak our native language, and it was just like I'm in an alien world. To be honest, to try to navigate. I was homeless for like 2 weeks. I was just on the street, begging for food to survive. I couldn't even approach anyone. A white man. I was like, how would I even introduce myself? Asking questions, but. Luckily, someone notices me, like I'm always on the street, and they took me to the police station, and the police asked me, where's your family? I had nobody, no mom, no dad, no brother, no siblings. I didn't know about the system, and from there they took me to another police station, and they took me to this big office where they asked me so many questions, and I had an interpreter. So I spoke to the person in Hausa, and he interpreted to them in English. And later in the day, then they took me to this house, and they said to me, this is where you'll be living now. They said it's called foster house. Foster house? Yeah, foster family.
You didn't even know what that meant?
No, so that's social. Now it's like social services. Yeah. Because of my age, it's illegal for me to just be on my own. And the moment I said I had no one in the UK, so straight away the government just took care of me, and I was placed in the home. My foster families were Eritreans, Christians.
Christians, not even Muslims?
No, not even Muslim. I wasn't even asked, like, would you want to stay with Muslim?
They didn't even care to ask you whether you were Muslim
they just take you there, But for me at that moment, it's like a break, because I was sleeping outside before to even get to like have a roof over your head. And I think that's the woman that really helped me to understand what's going on. And she notices that I had no clue about what's going on, and she was like, I'm a foster mom, I've been doing this for over 10 years, and there are other kids from like Afghanistan, and she just looked after them and support them like their parents. And I was like, okay, good. But I just stayed in the house.
You got a new mama.
Yeah. So from there, it's like they tried to get me into school. They had no knowledge about my educational background, but I had to start from year 10 because of my age. So they don't mix like someone who is 16 and someone who is 14 in the same class. So I started from year 10.
Year 10 meaning like primary 5?
No, not primary. Maybe like JS1.
JS1? Okay,
yeah. I think about JS1. Yeah. That's post primary.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but going to school, I did my best. I was told that I would have more than 5 GCSEs, like A to C, because they had nothing about my educational background, and it's only a year and a bit, then we'll do the GCSEs, and they were so surprised and shocked, like, how am I going to pass all my exams? But I did my best, and I didn't just have 5 GCSEs, I had 10 GCSEs, A to C, and the school were just really shocked and surprised. So my life wasn't straightforward, you have to go through the whole immigration process to try to have your British document, and a year later I tried to apply for the citizenship, and it took 4 years of my life before I was able to.
So you got your citizenship at the age of 19? Oh, 20?
20, okay. Because then before I even got it, there was a process. There was a time in my life where I couldn't work because of the document. I was offered a football scholarship. I had to like drop out of the football scholarship because of the whole passport, issues, which many, if you haven't been through that journey, you wouldn't understand what it means. Even you see a British person will say to me, "Why can't you sign for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I had no." They were like, "What do you mean? But you went to school here." But the process is different. The system is different.
So that's why you have never played for Premier League club?
Premier League clubs, yeah, because that held me back. But when I look back now, that kind of made me the person that I am today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's not an impediment. It's not a stumbling block to you.
Yes, something just blocked my way from getting into that professional Premier League football player. However, in pursuing of that, where you couldn't, become that footballer, you have people within your life that try to help you, that understand your circumstances. Like, don't worry, try study or do some education, because you couldn't go uni because of the passport. They'll be like, or just do some kind of training to keep your mind off being stressful, being worried. And years down the line, with the whole skills that I've equipped, alongside the whole struggling and juggling with things, understanding the British culture, integrating myself in the society. The moment I had my, my status in the country, I've already built network of professionals and friends that I was just offered opportunities in community with Tottenham Hotspur, helping other kids. And I started doing that, getting them into education, employment, but then I started to get frustrated because there are certain people that will come to our services, but we can't give them 100% support because they're refugees like me. They're immigrants. They had no people to support them, and that's where You versus You
came into existence. That's great. So tell us about this You versus You. There are the things that culminated in coming up with the idea of You versus You. So it means like there are some things, there are some support that You versus You can give, which the government cannot give.
Yeah, I think it wasn't even like the government cannot give it, but because they haven't been through that journey to understand what that person is going through or what that person actually needs, they just assume that person needs this, whereas that person needs something else. So it's quite challenging, and the person that's going through that journey, if they're not getting what they want, they get frustrated and end up on the wrong side. They probably end up in drugs, or just on the streets, or just doing something that they could do better than that.
To destabilize the society.
Exactly, to destabilize the society. And this is where the problem is. And sometimes when you pick up a newspaper, when you see anything about refugees, it's always negative.
Yeah, sure.
There's never like positive things.
Which is bad.
Which is bad.
Do you think it's misrepresentation?
That's misrepresentation.
Or some things are being made up?
Yeah, it's misrepresentation, because for someone like myself now, at my age, at 26, I've contributed massively to the society, but I'm a refugee. And when people hear that, they're like, "Oh wow, how did you do it?" That's the whole question. I was like, because I was fortunate to, yes, my foster parents were Christians, but they looked after me like a child. They make sure I was educated, they make sure I have good friends around me. So I've got stability compared to other kids that they wouldn't get along well with their foster families. They will have to change school so many times, change environment. So there's no stability for them to even have within psychologically to settle down and do the education and pass their GCSEs, and further their education. So that wasn't my situation, despite all the challenges. So stability in a young person's life can really make a massive difference on how your future, could end up.
So you are attributing much of your success stories to having a good foster mother.
A good foster mother, and
who happens to be Christian.
Is
she still alive?
She's still alive. She's still alive. I still see her up to date. Recently, when my parents visited London as well, she came down to see my parents. So it's like I had 4 parents around me. Every time I see the picture.
That's a cool reunion.
So it's a very great reunion. And that's where the concept of You versus You started from. I was like, I want to do something different because I understood what these young people are going. You get kids that come from Yemen, Saudi, Afghanistan, even Bulgaria, like European countries, and they had no one due to either war or economic crisis. Economic crisis, and they end up in the UK trying to survive. And I just like, what really helped me to get to where I am?
Yeah.
It wasn't just because there are people around me, but also I wanted something good for myself. Which there's this saying about you can take a horse to a river, but you can't force the horse to drink from it.
Sure.
You know, you need to want something good for yourself. You know, so if I say to you, meet me at 9 a.m. I will give you £1,000. I won't come to your house and drag you out. You have to meet me there.
Of course,
and that's you.
Yeah.
You know, if you slept off till like 9:30 and I said you're late, that wasn't me. That's you, and that's where you versus you came from.
Wow, this is a very nice and fantastic idea.
So it's not about sometimes what we go through. It's not about just the society. We need to change something about ourselves in order for us to achieve what we want. So when I started that concept, I have to look at my own life, like what really helped me. And I looked at the things that people helped me on, and I looked at things that I contributed for myself. So those are the skills that I try to bring up from the young people that I'm working with. Say, if you can do X, Y, Z, people will be willing to help you. You know, you have to be humble, you have to be respectful, you need to like work hard, you need to be willing to do the things that you wouldn't get paid for, because at the end of the day, one day you eventually get paid for it. I've volunteered a lot of time in my life before I even without getting paid before becoming a CEO, where I now employ people
and
to
you
work
get
for
to
my own
pay
company.
them.
I got to pay them.
How does it feel?
As a boss, you know, everyone that works for me, I just call them my colleagues. But alhamdulillah, you know, you versus you have grown massively, you know, in the British society to a stage where I was invited to meet with Prince Charles of Wales. I was invited to Downing Street. I was invited to meet with like some big politicians. You know, I sit on like high boards, you know, of like the Metropolitan Police, you know, the London Recovery Board, which the mayor himself was like, Ahmed, we need you to be part of this. So this is not magic, you know. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and people were like, do this, you know. It's a journey that I've been through in my life, and now passing the experience back to my, you know, contributing back to the society without expecting anything back in return. And before you know, they said, whenever you do good, people always see, and that's the same for whenever you do bad, people always see. So that's how the journey started from. And now I think I have over 100 young kids. Over 100 young kids that I'm working with, supporting, mentoring, education, mental well-being, you know.
So what specifically do you do there? You coaching them, teaching them English language, teaching them skills that could be useful for them to get a job somewhere. What do you specifically do? Or you're giving them money every week? That's kind of cool.
So basically, you versus you, our approach is strategic. It's not one size fits all. You know, if you come to me, I have to do something called IAG, you know, information, advice, guidance. I need to try to understand your circumstances. And the moment I understood your circumstances, if you're ready to go into work, my focus will be, I need to help this person get a job because they're fully mature, they're ready. If it's to improve your language, my focus will be, I need to get you into college so you can improve your language. And if it's like building your confidence, so the program is different. We have a generic program, but some of them will need mentoring, some of them don't need mentoring, some of them just want to get a job. So these are the kind of programs that we do to help young people, you know, have a better life, become more independent and understand the British culture. So we do like workshops, we do a lot of one-to-one, we do a lot of orienteering, visiting like different London landmarks, because we understood that being in your comfort zone doesn't really change much about you. And sometimes education is not just the education you got academia. Sometimes you need exposure, it's an education. So we take them to different places, different countries, the ones that we travel. So these are the kind of things that we do to build their confidence in the British society, and also become more independent and just, you know, decide on what success means for them. They have to define their own success.
But do they have to pay?
They don't pay.
So who gets to pay? How do you source funds?
I source funds from the government, so I have to like write a proposal, and you know, from 50 grand, 70,000 pounds, 20 grand, it depends on whatever I want to do. And I just put the proposal forward. If they really like the idea,
and they pay.
Yeah, then they pay.
And that's when. So
the young people don't have to pay, and that's the reason why when I brought You versus You to Nigeria, people always ask me, you know, how do you fund all the programs that you're doing? I said there's an initiative, and if you want to be part of it, that's when I can share my initiative with you. You know, but alhamdulillah, we've been doing it for over 2 years now. We know the people we've helped. We've helped women that are widowed, that have got nothing, and they'll be like, oh, they used to sell maybe food stuff at home. We're like, okay, you've got the skills, we'll give you some money, go and start, and we'll make sure we monitor if you're making progress. We wouldn't just give you 20 grand and be like, yeah, go, just buy,
just
we
go
need
buy
to make sure
whatever
we monitor it, and during Ramadan we do a lot of feeding program, but our focus is not to give people food.
Okay.
It's to teach people how to make money to buy food. Yeah,
good.
You can give someone food, but you're not changing their life. The day you passed away, who's going to give them food? So we rather give someone a skill that they can use to make money and feed themselves and help other people. That's the focus of UVSU.
And I understand part of your job is mental health therapy. What does that mean?
Mental health is global. And unfortunately, in the world that we're living in the society that we live in, especially, let me use northern Nigeria for example, because I know northern Nigeria better than when it comes to Africa, because I've lived there. We contradict. We kind of, with the moment you said mental health, people think you're crazy. But that's not the meaning. So straight away it has a stigma, a negative connotation to it.
So when someone says I'm going to see a neurologist
or a therapist, psychiatrist, they think you're crazy. But we're all on a spectrum.
Okay.
We all go through mental health, and we get stressed every day, anxiety if we're to do this presentation, if you're to do a public speaking, it's all part of the mental health. So there is mental health and there's mental health illness.
Okay, what's the difference?
Okay. The difference between a mental health and a mental health illness is the mental health is what we go through in our everyday life, but we can still cope and go to our jobs, see our family, talk to them. When you're critically ill in terms of mental health, going through depression, anxiety, you wouldn't be able to sit here and do this.
Okay, so that's when you see somebody isolating themselves. Even it's
from
the mainstream.
Yeah, and it's so hard for you to even get them to see a therapist or a psychiatrist because they've been chronically ill, so they're at the bottom. You have to do extra to get them.
So what should someone do?
And
so they would not get into that level.
That's what we're saying. Things like talking to people when something is going on in your life. Don't just keep it to yourself. You talk to people. It's like, for example, if I have a can of Coke, right? And I ask you to shake that can of Coke, and it goes around 10 people, and I say the 10th person should open it, what would happen? It will explode. That's what happened to our mind. That's what happened to our brain. Because when you start putting everything in your mind, one day, eventually, little thing, someone might just
make it
budge you and be like, oh, move, and you just go crazy because there's so much going on. And the moment you leave it to pile up, and you start going into depression. Everything starts from stress.
So what makes people have this problem of mental health? Is it, a kind of unfriendly relationship with their loved ones? For example, a guy can have a girlfriend, but she's making him go crazy, something like that. She doesn't pay attention to him. She doesn't give him time. Is it one of the reasons?
When it comes to anything can make someone go into mental health. Death, relationship issues, financial issues, society. You might have done something and the society kind of like isolate you. It makes you go into mental well-being. Like I said, financially as well. You might be looking for a job, you're not getting a job. That alone can put you in a serious mental health situation, and that's the reason why it's always good to talk. Like part of the project that we're running now, called social prescription, is literally to bring people together and get them to talk, and we organize pizza, food, and the feedback that you get, and people be like, oh, I've just been at home, I haven't done anything, and every week I look forward to this program just to come and see people and talk to them. Sometimes we forgot the importance of talking to people. Like when COVID happened, the level of mental health, even from the black people that don't really come forward to talk about it, they start reporting their mental because you're isolated. You don't go out. You don't do the normal things like you don't get to talk. You don't get to talk. So that's the reason why I'm planning to do a program on mental health in Nigeria, because we don't even understand it for us to even understand how to tackle the issues of mental. But it's there, But we kind of keep it away, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, go to Malang, that person will pray for you. No, that's different. We understand. We pray to Allah, but Allah said help yourself, then I'll help you. So you have to go to the right source to get help, because that man might not understand that you're going through mental health. crisis, and he would just make dua. But that's not what you need at that time. You need a professional, you need a therapy, you need to talk, and sometimes you have your own coping mechanism. Maybe you need to go for a walk or running. Sports is really good in helping your mental well-being, and maybe cooking or baking. So there's so many different things
that can help. Minimize
the risk of just release or just taking a break.
Okay. So if this work, if this, like you have a lot of work doing, and it's making you stressed, so you can just take a break.
Take a break. You can never be productive as much as you want if you're stressed.
Yeah, it's true.
So how can you help other people if you are stressed?
You can, because you cannot even help yourself.
You can't even help yourself.
It's true.
So that's why taking a break is always good. And sometimes people will say, "Oh, us in the Western world, we like to travel a lot." No, because we've worked so hard. We need a break, and that break away from home. You want to go somewhere, recharge again, and come back and continue what you're doing, and you feel good.
But because of the economic situation that we find ourselves here in Nigeria, we don't get to have that opportunity of traveling.
I know, even there, it's not like we're rich. We've just put it as part of it. It's a custom. So you know how much you earn, you know how much you want to put towards your savings, you know how much you want to put towards having a break.
So it's a plan.
It's a plan. You plan about it. It's not just because you have the money, you just plan it.
So let me a little bit take you back into the earlier part of your life, because you started talking about how you got to the UK, how you got to be depressed before you were connected to your foster mom, the Eritrean lady. History, we believe, that is something that shapes our future. When we look back, we're gonna work hard and improve the present for the benefit of the future. Now you're working very hard on this issue of mental health. Is it because you had to, you went through difficult moment? You also were a victim of this mental health issue, and that's why you try and help people?
I'm a victim of mental health, and even when I was going through it, I didn't know that was mental health. Because I'm a northern Nigerian, I'm Muslim. I just believe whenever you're going through a crisis, you just pray. And I don't think when I was in Nigeria I've ever had the word mental health.
Wow.
And until when I was older, I had to do this training on mental health. That's when I was like, wow, I've been through this
for long.
I'm still healing, through what I've been through. I've been depressed, anxiety, it's like about 4 to 5 years of my life where they're saying to you, you can't walk, you can't travel, you can't study because you have no passport. So you have to move from your foster mom home and live on your own. The moment you get to the age of 18 and you have to survive on a very little money, like £37 a week, to travel to clothe yourself. So of course, like, if not something within you and if not for Allah, you end up doing the wrong things. And that's why they said in the UK, a lot of young people in prison are children in care. They've been through the care system. They've been fostered.
And now you're trying to change the narrative.
That's what I'm trying to change, because I understood what I've been through, and I'm like, I don't want to be there. It's depression is something that is so hard to explain. It's really serious stage to be in, and to not be able to get support, for someone to not even understand what you're going through. So what we need to do around it, especially in northern Nigeria, is to normalize and talk about and raise the awareness. Because the more people are aware, the more support you can get without having you to go to psychiatrists or therapists, for example, or counseling.
Of course. So briefly, we got like 2 minutes to go. You're now a celebrity in London, and in Nigeria,
I'm not a celebrity. I don't know how that happened.
A lot of people know you. You got a lot of fans on social media, and due to the work that you do, you got a lot of friends from the celebrity community. You got people like Ahmad Musa, Aliluhu, among other people like that. You're into sports. Briefly, how does it feel like me being a kind of famous person and working with people? How does it feel like, the stardom stuff?
I think I don't really think too much into it. Perhaps maybe because of the journey that I've been through, I just see myself as a normal person. It's like even the other days, people were saying to me, "Oh, you don't even live in Nigeria. Like, how come you know all these people?" I'm like, Am I famous? I'm not famous. I don't see myself as famous. I just see myself as no. You know, I get along with everyone. You know, if I have time to do something, I'll do it. When I meet all these like, you know, the big guys, Alinu, Ahmed Musa, and Co. For me, it's just normal because even in the UK, you know, I walk.
You get to meet.
I'll get to meet so
big fish.
Yeah, so I don't think about it because I'm just